Everyone's telling you to be this creator. You have to post content daily, you have to build your following, grow your audience so that you can monetize. But what if I told you that there's at least $97,000 in government contracts waiting on you? And they don't care how many followers you have. I'm R.W. Jones, the billionaire, and I have personally accessed over $5 million in government funding. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how these contracts work and why being a provider beats being a creator every single time. Let's tell the truth. The creator economy promises that if you make content and you build your audience, you can monetize. But here's the reality. Most creators make under $1,000 a year. So you're posting daily, you're chasing these trends, you're learning new tools every single week, trying to go viral, and you're exhausted. And here's the line that you need to hear. You are not failing. The model is failing you. The algorithms are deciding your visibility. The audience is deciding your income. And now you're stuck, hoping that both of them will cooperate. But there's another model that nobody's talking about. And it doesn't require followers, virility, daily posting, personal branding gymnastics. It just requires skill and structure. Let me show you how. See, a creator builds content for an audience, while the provider solves problems for institutions. That's the difference. Creators compete for attention, while providers compete for contracts. One of those has a ceiling, maybe $97 for your course, while the other doesn't have a ceiling whatsoever. See, providers get paid by workforce development boards, state agencies, local governments, economic development departments, and they don't care if you have 200 followers or 200,000 followers. They only care about one thing. Can you deliver results? And right now, AI skills are one of the biggest gaps in workforce development. But before I show you how AI fits in, you need to understand where the money comes from, because this isn't side hustle money. This is infrastructure money. Here's Workforce Funding 101 in plain English. The federal government sends workforce money to each state. Each state distributes that money to local workforce development boards. Those boards are legally required to spend that money. They spend that money on training, upskilling, employment programs, career transitions. They must contract with providers to deliver those services. It's not optional. And if they don't spend it, they have to send it back. And here's the gap. They need people like you who can teach AI digital literacy, digital tools that help businesses optimize, business automations. This isn't a hustle, ladies and gentlemen. This is where money already exists, billions of it, and you are not in those rooms. Now, let's break down what a $97,000 workforce contract actually will look like, because this is where people assume that I'm exaggerating, and I'm not. Let me first be clear about something up front. There is no $97,000 contract just sitting on a desk waiting for some random person to just come in, claim it. That is not how contracts work. Those contracts go to structured programs. The key is not finding the money. The key is first building something fundable. So an example contract, let's say you design a program called AI Digital Literacy and Workforce Productivity Accelerator. Long name. But you will have to identify a scope of work. The program exists to deliver structured AI workforce training to 20 participants. And let's just say there are 3 phases in this program. Phase 1 could be AI foundations and digital literacy. Like, this is the foundation. This is where participants build core competency. This is what it is, how it works, where it applies. This phase ensures that the participants aren't just using tools, but that they understand the application. Your phase 2 could literally be workforce, application, and productivity systems. Now we move from knowledge to execution. That could look like workflow automation basics, AI for administrative efficiency. This is where the participants increase the speed, the output, and the competitiveness. So phase 3 could be all about your outcomes, your credentials, and your economic activation. This is what institutions care most about. This is where you'll determine your measurable skills gain. How did they increase, go from here to here? You could discuss your credential or certification attainment, if applicable. See, the last phase, if it's a 3-phase program, will tie the training directly to the outcomes. See, this is where you're not just teaching and talking in theory. You are actually delivering measurable workforce impact. you're fundable, and that is what makes your programs fundable. So now let's say you have a timeline. It's 3 to 6 months, and that could typically include a daily or weekly session. Then you have your required deliverables. Remember, I said it was the most important thing workforce boards really care about, the outcomes, right? So your program has to include either a measurable skills gain. How do you assess that? Is that through pre and post surveys? But then you have your credential or your certification attainment. What is the certification or the nationally recognized credential that they will obtain? But then you have your employment, wage increase, or advancement outcomes. What is that? How are you measuring that? How are you ensuring that that is getting done? You don't get funded with these good intentions. You get funded by the results. Now that is structure. In your contract, it's going to talk about payment structure. Now, this is where the psychology shifts because instead of looking online at platforms like Stripe to see how many courses you sold or who has paid for your products and all your services, you will submit a monthly invoice. Your invoice depends on the phase and the stage of your program. If it's a base or a deliverable based payment, the invoice is what gets you paid. So as participants complete the training, as your credentials are being earned, and as your benchmarks are being hit, that's when you invoice the institution. That's how institutional revenue works. It isn't controlled by algorithms or virility or whatever tool is trending this week. Now, here's the critical part. None of this happens without a program. If there's no program, there's no scope. If there's no scope, there's no outcomes. If there's no outcomes, you don't have a proposal, and therefore you do not have a contract. The contract follows a fundable program. And while I realize that most people may have never written a program or structured an outcome or even never submitted a proposal, that still does not disqualify you. It just means you need a framework. You don't need a computer science degree, $1 million company, or 100,000 followers. You just need a fundable program structure with clear outcomes, built-in compliance, measurable progress, and a proposal that shows the funder exactly what they're paying for. That's it. And if you've never written a program before, that's exactly why I'm hosting the upcoming live AI Cash Skills to Contract free training. There, I'm going to show you how to get $97,000 workforce contracts teaching AI skills. I'm going to walk you through, number one, where do you fit in the AI contracting ecosystem? Number two, the AI gaps that are currently existing in the workforce development system. And three, how AI skills actually become real revenue. You know, how the right role translates into real contracts, real money. Because at the end of the day, you don't just claim a contract. You submit a program for funding, and that program gets you the contract. Now, here's why timing is of the essence. AI is the number one emerging skill gap in workforce development right now. But let's first clarify. Workforce boards don't need fancy prompt engineering programs. They need practical, functional AI digital literacy, workflow automation for small businesses, and career transition support. Now, while they might need a whole lot more, you don't need to be an AI genius to access these contracts. You just need to be 6 months ahead of the people you are training. That's it. The key isn't mastering every new tool. The key is packaging your knowledge into something fundable. And that is what most people never learn. So here's what you can do immediately after watching this video. You could Google your city or your county's workforce development board. Once you find your board, you also want to search if there are any existing RFPs. RFP stands for a request for proposal. It's just a formal invitation to submit a bid. And even if you don't see one, you can actually submit an unsolicited proposal because you don't always have to wait to be invited. Sometimes you just knock on the door yourself. And then start documenting the outcomes that your AI program could actually produce. For example, will you improve small business productivity? If so, how? Will you increase efficiency through automation? If so, which ones? Will you help job seekers use AI to accelerate employment? If so, how? All of that matters. All of it counts. Now, I want you to ask yourself, do you want to keep competing for views or do you want to compete for contracts? If this sounds like the route that you would rather take, type provider in the comments. I'll send you the link to an upcoming live free event called AI Cash Skills to Contracts, where I show you exactly how to turn AI skills into workforce development contracts. So why don't we stop competing for attention and start competing for allocation? In other words, contracts. So if you want the full system, how to find workforce contracts, how to package your AI skills, write proposals, and deliver at a level that institutions funds, that's exactly what AI Carrying Skills to Contracts was built for. The link is in the description above, and just subscribe if you're done chasing trends. Because over here, we don't chase algorithms. We access infrastructure, and we don't build audiences. We build assets, and we don't hope that one day we'll go viral. We actually invoice. If you learn anything from this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Turn on your notifications so you can be informed of the next time I send a video. Peace.